Hi everyone! Thank you so much for tuning into my tarot channel. This is actually a cardless message, meaning there will be no utilization of tools besides my own mind. And it is a mediumistic message from my higher self. Mediumistic meaning I'm getting this info from people who've passed on, maybe loved ones, from your life, maybe from mine, and also just guides, people who are following our life path for their own expansion. So I did earlier today a twin flame reading, and I really hate that sort of terminology, but it is used, and I do like, excuse my weird water stain, I do kind of believe in the premise, although I hate what it's sort of become on the internet, and that people have co-opted it to make it some way to make money. There was like a documentary about that, I don't know if you've seen it, but so this person is your twin flame, and it was divinely guided that you meet at the time that you did, and you're not together right now. And when you met, you both were involved with other people, and one of you or both of you may still be involved with other people, but it was immediate. It was wild chemistry and attraction and almost animalistic. It was something like you look in each other's eyes and you're like, are we gonna keep this secret, or what? Or are we gonna, and whatever the time went on, and for some reason, whatever the dynamic was, you couldn't express this fully to each other, really. You couldn't act on these impulses or feelings. So your guides want you to know that you need to stop like obsessing about the outcome of this, of what will happen. And that may be a reason that you met this person. This person could be very attractive. Like maybe they're like an outdoors type, or like, I'm talking about the masculine here. Maybe they are very like, quick to speak, good with their hands, and you know, honestly, they have a lot of sexual skill that they would like to display, but that, you know, there wasn't ever an option for that in the relationship. I think a reason is both people like sex and are sexually unfulfilled in their current situations and felt that spark with each other. And at first it was like, maybe one person's married, or maybe both people are like, maybe there's like a common law marriage for one person. It was like not allowed for this to happen, and yet somehow you kept interacting. I don't know what the situation was. Maybe you worked together, maybe you had an ongoing contract or situation where you saw each other, friends of friends, I don't know. But within that small crevice of space, there was room for intimacy to blossom. Okay, and so now, so what else about the masculine? His guides are telling me that he is boyish, and that while he is very attractive, he also sees himself in a negative light. I don't know if you've ever heard of that thing called a true mirror. Really, when we look in the mirror, we're actually seeing this weird, distorted, like, version of ourselves, and it's impossible. Well, it is possible to create a true mirror, but it shows you how you really appear. And this person may have some body dysmorphia, even if the masculine. They may have like tattoos, or like piercings, or like even like just interesting skin. And what else about the masculine? They may have gone up and down on their weight in their life. and their guides want me to show you an image of them as a child, playing with crayons, drawing, very creative, a really creative kid, and that the environment, the parents were like very traditional. Maybe these parents were like older parents, maybe not, maybe they were just traditional in their like way of raising someone, and this person was probably the firstborn in their family, the masculine, and their guides are showing me a small child, them as a small child, trying to fit in, trying to be this artist, and not in a literal sense really. Maybe there's some doodles and some experimentation, but really more the essence of artist, seeing the world through the eye of an artist, which is a skill. And the parents, I'm seeing the crayons being like pushed off the table, and they were just like, this is foolish, this is a waste of your time. And so there's a deep pain there for this masculine that he cannot, now it expresses itself as fear of expression, fear of self-expression in general. So you, the feminine, what is your deal? My guides are showing me that you were a high achiever growing up. You were maybe like a type A, maybe like very concerned with checking all those boxes, having that plan, and then as life went on, you were like, oh, life has twists and turns and like things I don't expect. And you may be someone who really likes art, or maybe like horses, or like being outdoors. Maybe you the feminine is someone who loves animals. You're a caretaker. You may have been in some very toxic relationships. Actually, both people have been in some very toxic dynamics with romantic people. So now my guides are showing me a future where the two of you exist as a couple, and it's different than it is now. It's like there's dependency financially, but also you both have like made leaps and bounds in your financial situations. Maybe you've done a creative project together. I'm seeing like a film, like movie, like maybe you make a movie together, not like porn. like maybe that artistic sense is channeled and you can do it together. I'm thinking of acting. I'm thinking of like old actors, like the movie Casablanca. What is she? I forget the line in the end. Here's looking at you, kid, maybe. Yeah, there's something in this relationship that's like Casablanca, like you deeply connected, and it was like spiritual and romantic, but none of that was said. And in the end, you had to part, and it was sort of like you, feminine, were the younger one. There's an age difference here, and it was sort of like, here's looking at you, kid, as you got on the plane, and that was it. And a lot of people are like, why is Casablanca such a downer? Like, why don't they just run off into the sunset together? Because then it wouldn't be such a great love story. But that's not necessarily, I was going to get back to the future that I see for you both. It's a future where like you both are really clear on your needs, and you both work through a lot of your stuff, your personal stuff. There's a possibility to have a really amazing chemistry, like sexual chemistry in this relationship, and shared interests. And the only thing I can see that could happen is this person may have like, or you, I keep seeing this like child in a well, like there's like abandonment issues here. maybe you both will have to abandon or have already abandoned some toxic situation, and there's fear in entering into something new. Will I be abandoned again? But you see, the dance of Shiva, who is a man, by the way, is about creation and destruction. So keeping that in mind, the little boy in the well, you can see that as yourself and bring them up and tell them it's okay and it's safe. You don't have to worry about being abandoned. I'm sensing that both of you dealt with verbal abuse in your relationships, and you're very wary of any sort of like volatility or conflict. And so this maybe have been what happened here, that you both come from like relationships, you both were in relationships that were really conflict oriented. You created a safe haven within each other, and then there was conflict. Why was there conflict? Because there were deep feelings, and that was agitating to both people. And it's almost like a pearl when it's like created by agitation in the clam over so much time. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever read that book, The Old Man and the Sea by John Steinbeck, but it's a great, I think about it as a great thing, sort of statement about like our culture being so materialistic, that all this sort of life and death goes into this struggle of killing this animal, and then it's just being served to these tourists in the final scene. But I mentioned that here. I guess my guides led me to that because you both could create a life where there's less struggle together, less, you know, it's okay. You need to both realize it's okay to have a little conflict. You know, it's not the same as what it is with your other significant others that were so negative. My guides are, I'm hearing this song, Only Fools, what is it? Only Fools Fall in Love. How does it go? Actually, I'm hearing a different song. Elvis Costello. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Yeah, and then I'm hearing another song called, just that line, what's so wrong with peace, love, and understanding? You may both be hippie types. Problem with that is that can come with some passivity. Although the hippies can have just the same negative energy as the police, as Ram Dass said. But I think that you both like got into relationships really early in life. Maybe one of you was like a serial relationship haver, and then one of you was like locked it down really early and like never strayed. But like, there's a fear of being on your own for both of you. And there's dependence and like lack of self-esteem for both of you that was mirrored. I do think that this relationship will have a second chance. I think you'll meet in person by happenstance, or maybe one of you will have an event that's publicly posted and the other will come. And by this time, I'm seeing it being summer, fall. By this time, things will have shifted, and I'm not saying you're gonna run away together, but there will be another chance to engage in conversation about what happened. This person has a lot, the divine masculine has a lot of like sexual thoughts about you, like, and then they feel ashamed because they don't want to like sexualize you, because they also really respect you and think you're very intelligent. And it's funny because they know that you like feel bad about yourself. even though like you are very beautiful, and I guess you can't see that. And it's like the same for them. Maybe they're older and they have like insecurity about being older, but maybe there's comparison between like significant others, but they like you, the divine feminine, sometimes can feel these like hits, these like psychic hits of like what they're thinking about the connection, about this like intense chemistry, like that is really raw and sexual and magnetic. You can almost feel them thinking that, and it scares you. I'm gonna ask my guides, why does this scare you? Because you're really attracted to this person. You're usually sapiosexual, but not that this person isn't smart, but like they're smart, but like it was kind of, it's like you're both smart in different ways, and like one of you is like really like book smart and like nerdy, and like maybe you're even like good at math, or like even just like science, like maybe you're like really curious, like a researcher. And then maybe the other one is like really instead of being like a jack of all trades, maybe they like really focus on like this one topic and they're like the expert at that. And yeah, there may have been like a clashing of like a power clash, like two geniuses, two like, and then there's like blind spots with both sides of genius, like the genius who, this is the male, the masculine, who like is, you know, really skilled at one topic, might not have read Lacan or whatever it is, or like Tess of D'Urberville's or whatever, or might not really be thinking about like Cro-Magnons and what they ate, which it sounds like the feminine is much more like all over the place in her thought process. So her blind spot might be that she might be like, oh, I'm just a savant here, I'm just throwing out ideas, but then a lot of them are like really spot on because she's very intelligent about a lot of things. So there was a lot of like him being like, well, this is how it is, and her being like, what about this? Yeah, I think that it's actually really like, I think there were past lives here. I'm specifically seeing like service, like maybe this is a 6-8 vibration dynamic where service and reproduction are like, you know, 8 can be about sex, reproduction, and 6 can be about service, are like important, and also just regeneration and rebirth. I'm seeing in your past lives, you both, there were lives where like the feminine served the masculine, but she was happy to. It wasn't, I mean, of course it was like a different culture where it's obviously much more sexist, but there was love there, maybe like in a courtly situation, but still they were not together. And then I'm seeing another situation where the masculine served the feminine in, this looks like a Native American situation. Sorry, I know I'm really out there, but it seems like the feminine may have been like a native royalty in a past life and had some illness, and this masculine helped her. He was maybe a healer, shaman, herbalist. But yeah, so these are just some of the energies, and there are, just know that both sides, what the third parties are like dwindling, but don't like one person may completely be done with the third party, for example, the feminine, and the masculine may be not done with their third party, but like it's really not working. And sometimes the best thing to do is to just step back and leave it alone and see what happens. Sort of like a crock pot. You just sort of let it cook. You put all the ingredients in there, and then you step away And that's what I think both people need to do. And I'm being given a final message from Archangel Michael that this experience is divinely protected and guided, and there's not going to be any harm that comes to either person. You are protected, especially I'm seeing that when you're driving, you're protected. I think that Archangel Michael is showing up to say that you're more protected than you know. And maybe that this interaction brought up some fears. What if I get hurt again? What if I put my heart out there and I can't come back from it mentally? It's okay. Your heart is protected by divine beings such as Archangel Michael, who heals emergencies. So this may be an emergency love. Both people are in emergency need of love, and you'll just have to wait till the levee breaks, honestly. And I don't know when that will be or how, but someone's gonna reach out, and it could happen to you. What is that? It's a great line of that movie where Nicolas Cage and Bridget Fonda win the lottery. I was hearing Tail Swan talk about how you shouldn't think of winning the lottery, but goes totally against Abraham Hicks and their teachings. But the thing about the lottery, I'm being guided to talk about that as we end, is that people do win. I think Teal Swan probably has had a lot of trauma I know she has, that makes her pessimistic, but just being born is an amazing feat. Think of all the other sperm that you had to beat to get born. That's amazing. Rare diseases. Okay, I have alopecia, so that's 2% of the population. I was the only person in my high school, college, grad school, every school situation, most towns who's had it, but it's 2% of the population. You would think that no one gets it, but here I am living proof that I have the disease. That's a negative connotation, but I actually see diseases as ways for us to grow spiritually, so that's sort of my insight there. But don't worry. Yes, the levee's gonna break. You're being watched. If you're like posting online, both of you are like watching each other, wondering about each other. There may have been some like nastiness at the end, but like as time goes on, you'll realize like there will not be another connection like this. You may date other people, you may both whatever move on, but this was like a tsunami in both of your lives. And yeah, the thing about a tsunami is you just have to get to higher ground. So that's what you're both doing now. Maybe literally, maybe one of you went hiking on a mountain or something. Getting to higher ground is about getting right in our heads. So I hope that you both can get right in your heads and honor this. And I don't know when the reach out will happen, but I hope that it does. And I really wish you the best and all my blessings. Sending you love from Mother Mary, Jesus, Krishna, Muhammad, God, and yeah, Buddha. Hope you have a great day.